Recording in progress.
No, I don't, I'm good. I voted yes, go. Good, yes.
4 years.
3 or 4.
Yes. For teachers that have 5 or more years of experience, they will receive a retention allotment of $8,000. The next section does not apply to us because we, obviously, our enrollment is less than 5.
How soon will we know about these figures and, or reference so we can incorporate them into our budget?
So right now, we're still waiting on additional guidance. So right now, this is what has been approved. It has not been signed. We're waiting for signature. And then we will have to phase in the breakdown of this, of the allotment. In other words, how the districts are going to pay the allotment to the staff. Okay, so that's not defined yet. So that's
We got some
next.
time because
We still have,
if I'm correct, this morning, I read that the Senate had some questions on that House bill. And that when that happens, we're gonna go back into a conference committee and iron things out.
so as of today, and Mirna Mirna sat through the most current House Bill 2 information from OKC. It is beyond committees. It is just waiting for signature.
Yeah, it already went.
It's already waiting,
it went
it's only
to,
waiting for signature, so they've already negotiated
Okay.
numbers.
Good.
And on this thing, I mean, on what I read, it's gonna be for teachers and staff, so how much, or which staff?
For this allotment, for this very specific allotment, this is only for teachers. So we'll talk about the other one in a minute, yes. So we have 2 years to roll this out. So we will then spend, obviously after today, we want to make sure that you have the most current numbers. Then the business department, the HR department, and myself will then have to spend a good chunk of time updating all of our salary tables, or at least very specifically to the teacher tables. And then once we get into the other allotments, changes to other pay structures. But as of today, these are the projected dollar amounts that we're expected to receive. We then have to turn around and embed these into the salary tables. And of course, whatever we don't pay off this year, we have until next year to pay off to all the candidates that qualify for this.
But then we have to deal with the following year if it stays. It's a 2-year allotment, so we have to do the same thing again.
So yes, the work on the compensation packet is going to be very critical. So that is House Bill 2. The next allotment is support staff retention allotment. So this is a new allotment. It has been approved. For Crystal City ISD, this allotment will generate $65,496. The support staff allotment, there's a very specific, and I'm moving you on to page 4 of your thicker packet. The red section, the red bulleted section. So for the support staff retention allotment, these are the staff members that are eligible to receive compensation under this allotment. Things to consider, especially for us as we work on the compensation packet, is there's a very long list of people that are eligible, but the funds continue to remain the same, $65,496. So we'll have to figure out how this money is going to be broken down.
And when it says support staff, you're talking about?
Teachers that are not eligible for the teacher retention, counselors, librarians, nurses, teachers' assistants, custodial staff, food service staff, bus drivers. So all the people that are listed in
Those would be.
are eligible for that allotment.
Which type of teachers would not be eligible for the other allotment?
Instructional coaches. Instructional coaches typically have a teacher contract, but they will not be,
Those are the only ones.
yeah, if they have just an instructional coach title. Moving on to special education evaluations. Again, this is an additional revenue to the district. This has gone from $3,000 number to $1,000. So right now, for every special ed evaluation that the district performs, it would have to be a full FIE. Right now, we are expected to receive revenue of up to $66,000.
But I think it's important that the audience know that under the new voucher deal,
We have,
we're responsible.
Correct.
For doing all the diag work,
Yes.
even though they're not gonna attend our school.
Correct. That is correct.
Ridiculous.
Under school safety allotment, this is new under the 89th, it wasn't applicable to us for the current, under current law. Under the 89th legislative session, we are expected to receive an allotment of up to $196,231. Moving on to allotment for basic costs. This is as of maybe 2 weeks ago, we were looking at $150 per enrolled student. As of May 29th, that figure has gone down to $103, I believe, for every enrolled student. So we are eligible to receive additional basic cost monies of up to $176,914. And then I'm going to move on to the last page, because really, under House Bill 2, these are the only allotments that impact Crystal City ISD, so I only wanted to touch base on what's going to impact us. On the last page, going on to the last section where you see compensation requirements. So taking all of those increases into consideration, the new M&O revenues above current law, or what we're expected to get in addition as new monies, is $1,322,849. What is it going to cost the CCISD to meet the compensation increase requirement? It's going to cost us up to $611,848. That is about 12% of the total estimated district contribution. The contribution going into payroll, TRS, and what have you, all what we call fringes. Remaining M&O revenues after we pay into the retention allotment and to the support staff allotment, the remaining revenues will probably be at or about $639,414. So again, the district is expected under the 89th legislature, very specifically to House Bill 2, to receive increased revenues of up to $1.3 million, of which the majority is going to be applied into the two different allotments, leaving the district with a remaining M&O revenue of $639,414. So that is the latest update on House Bill 2 as of May 29th.
Why wouldn't any of the other allotments or anything under House Bill 2 pertain to the district?
So the only other allotment that we did not discuss is the preparatory one, and that's because we have to create a pathway for that's an educator pipeline, and allotments. We would have to create a program of study before we would be eligible for that allotment. Questions on House Bill 2?
well, you're saying that this information was when?
As of May 29th.
And you don't have, or you think that this information is what, the same that's going to the government to sign?
Correct.
So.
Yes, the House Bill 2 is out of committees, and it's only waiting on governor's signature. Yes, sir. Okay, so we're moving on to budget.
Okay, ma'am, before we go further, because it is gonna affect our budget. This bill is only for 2 years. And I was thinking about the increase in salaries for professional and not professional. What if, and I know it's a big what if, what if in 2 years legislature doesn't provide any more funding for that? How we're gonna deal with that in terms of letting our employees know? Do we gonna let them know in advance, and this is only for 2 years? You might have to reduce your salary in 2 years.
So that's going to, a lot of that is going to depend on the compensation packet that we put together and how we create the salary tables, how we adjust the salary tables, because we have to do it in a way, because this is only for years 3 and that first one is 3 to 5 years or 3 or 4 years. We have to be able to do something first for 1 to 2nd year teachers. So we have to create buffers here, and then we have to transition the tables out. So yes, that is going to, that's the guidance that we're looking at to see how best, because every district salary tables are different, how best to transition in to the new legislative mandates and out of them. Because yes, right now, we don't know if this is going to be sustainable.
Continue.
It's, well, the districts have to be able to sustain the mandate, right? And so
we don't know,
the
like-
local budget is going to have to come in and leverage out wherever we have gaps that will be created in the salary table.
Curious, because the 2nd year allotment doesn't increase, because, for example, if we have several teachers that are 4-year workers, they'll fall under the current one. But next year, they're gonna have 5 years experience. So we're gonna have to deal with that increase. I'm assuming they're gonna change. They're not gonna stay with the previous compensation.
I believe they will, but we need more
Verify and make sure.
guidance, yes, sir.
Okay.
And we will then, as now we move into the guidance part of it, the application part of House Bill 2, we'll bring you all updates also.
Okay.
Make sure that we are in compliance by September 1st when this becomes effective. Can you advance the slide one? Okay, so we'll begin with the budget update. So first, I know that Mr. Espinosa had asked for year-to-date budget cuts for the 24-25 school year. And this is a comparison of the original budget being the August budget. So under 5700s, the original budget, we began at $15,860,141. The amended budget as of May 12th, when we brought it to you, amendment number 4, we have reduced by 12 million, not by 12, to $12,063,106.03. And so when we do a comparison between the original budget and the current budget, which amendments you just approved,
Could you give us the names of each one of those budget numbers?
5700, Robert, do you want to jump in?
It's on there, the 5,700.
Yeah, it's
I know.
local, 57.
Local is 57.
Local, it's local.
Local,
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
We're going to move, yeah.
Taxes as well.
Right, okay. Then the 5,800 is what?
State,
State,
That's TA.
and 5,900,
federal,
Federal,
that's federal, okay. Fed, and
79 is transfer.
7,900,
Transfers.
transfers.
Transfers in.
Transfers in,
57 was what, local?
local,
And
it's local,
58?
state, federal, and transfers in.
okay, all right.
What?
Transfers in. So the difference from original budget to current budget is $3,797,034.97. In state aid, in revenues, original budget was $7,764,934. Amended budget, $6,797,000, $52.17, a difference of $967,881.83. Federal revenue, the original budget was at $3,295,934. The amended budget is at $1,404.15. And this is where we had this is where Mr. Cepeda included the federal revenues into the general budget. So that's why you see such a difference there. The difference being $3,294,246.85. In transfers in for the original budget, we had zero. The amended budget, it's 1,247. The difference being 1,247.07. In total revenue, the original budget was at $26,920,726.00. The budget amendment as of May 12th, 2025, has us at $18,862,809.42 for a difference of original versus current budget of $8,057,916.58. So that is how our original budget has evolved over time and as we have been making reductions in budget throughout the year. So a lot of work that has gone into these cuts. On the next slide, these are cuts by function. Under instruction, and again, they're by function because this is how the board approves the general fund. Under function 11 or instruction, the original budget was at $12,359,562. The amended budget for that same function is $9,997,312.40 for a difference of $2,362,249.60. Under function 12, instructional resources and media, our original budget was at $125,808.00. Our amended budget is at $4,771.43, a difference of $121,036.57. And under function 13, staff development, our original budget was at $52,003.00. Our amended budget is at $19,752.87, a difference of $32,250.13. Under function 21, instructional leadership, our original budget was at $127,808,000. Our current is at $4,771.43. The difference is $131,533. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. $131,533. Function 23, school leadership, our original budget was set at $1,166,525. Our current budget is set at $1,178,697.90, a difference of $12,172.90. Function 31, guidance and counseling. Our original budget was set at $291,517. Our amended budget is at $626,892.76, a difference of $335,375.
Why is
$335,375.76.
Why is that a negative?
It doesn't have a negative.
I'm sorry,
I guess you didn't pick up a negative
where am I?
at line 31, counseling.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
It's a positive.
It should be a positive, yes.
It's a negative.
I know I saw it in parentheses, so it's a negative?
Right.
Okay.
It dropped.
Function 32, social work services. Our original budget was at $201,885 versus current $195,147.92, for a difference of $6,737.08. Function 33, health services. Our original budget was at $256,694.00. Our current budget is at $204,947.56, a difference of $51,746.44. Function 34, student transportation, our original budget was set at $665,717.00. Our current budget is at $588,075.38, a difference of $77,641.62. In function 35, food service, our original budget was set at $1,231,256.00. Our current budget is at zero for that function, a difference of $1,231,256. Again, if you all recall from the beginning of the year, food service should not have been included in general fund, so that's why we zeroed it out. We zeroed it out initially in February.
Something with going on with the calculation, right?
Say that again?
Like for item 31 and 35, it shows like there should be an increase if these numbers are correct for number 31.
35 is really an increase.
It's really an increase. Well,
Yes.
35 is an increase and 31 is an increase, right?
Right.
And 35 should be a decrease.
Right. Because it belonged in another fund.
Yeah. Well, these are showing, I mean, I guess I'm taking the blacks as increases and the reds as negatives, right? So,
They showed up differently.
yeah. So those two functions need to.
Be corrected, yes. Function 36, extracurricular, our original budget was at $1,184,636. I'm sorry, did I get them? Yes, I'm sorry, these numbers are very small for me. $1,184,636.00. The current budget is set at $865,724.02, a difference of $318,911.98. For function 41, central administration, our original budget was set at $1,043,112. Currently, we are at $1,374,158.97, for a difference of $331,046.97. For function 51, plant maintenance and operation, our original budget was set at $985,236.00. Our current budget is at $2,655,702.13, a difference of $1,670,466.13. Again, the plant maintenance and operation, we go back to the beginning of the year when the original budget had under projected the expenses for the current year. So this adjustment we made very early on with Mr. Solomon.
Ms. Dean, I'm sorry, on 12, on the budget cuts, 12 and 21, they seem to have the same original budget,
Well,
same amendment. Budget cuts by function.
under function 21,
12 and 21, they have the same original budget,
125.
125
right?
and
No, 12 and 21, on the 24-25 budget amendment number 4, they both read 4,771.43. I think that's his question if they're the exact same budgeted number.
And it's the original versus current is different on,
I mean, that's what we have. Yes, sir.
that don't add up, miss. 21 does not add up. 47 is not 131, it's
Are you looking at 21, Sammy, or 12?
121,
21.
but they both
Can
have.
somebody do the math and? we need to-
That should be it should be 121.
121? If you can please make the correction to 121,
Under 21.
Be 121 something.
under 21, yes, sir.
21, the original budget was actually 145,550.
145.
Okay, thank you. 45 what, sir?
145,552.
52?
Correct.
45, 552.
And the 20.
So you want to give us the difference?
And then the difference is $131,533.
So it's,
Okay, so it's just the numbers were off.
yeah. Okay, so where am I?
Awesome.
52, security and monitoring. The original budget was set at $598,325.00. The current budget is set at $657,942.88 for a difference of $59,617.88. Function 53 for data processing. The original budget was set at $630,713.00. The current budget is set at $531,938.42, a difference of $98,774.58. Function 61, community service. The original budget was set at $66,479. The current budget has been zeroed out. The difference is the $66,479. For function 81, facilities and acquisition and construction, the original budget was set at $1,856,592. The current budget is set at $607,781, a difference of $1,248,811. For function 93, shared services agreement, original budget was set at $40,000, current budget is set at $42,000, a difference of $2,000. For function 99, intergovernmental changes not defined in other codes, our original budget was set at $375,000. Our current budget sits at $442,422 for a difference of $67,422. And then for our code 0, internal fund transfers out, we had budgeted 0 originally. Current budget sits at $462,348.94 for a difference of $462,348.94. Our total expenditures from the original budget is $26,920,726. Our amended budget, which again, we just brought forth to you all a couple of weeks ago, sits at $20,469,635.58 for a difference of $6,451,090.42. Our estimated budget change in fund balances, we began with 0 with the original budget. We are currently sitting at a deficit under the new amendment at $1.6 million, and of course that is the difference, $1,606,826.16. So these are the budget cuts that we have made throughout the year, beginning with the original budget that was adopted by the board on August 26th of 2024 to the last amended budget by the board on May 12th, 2024.
Miss, on May 12th, I don't think we took action on the budget.
On the budget amendment.
We never amended the budget. We didn't take action on the budget amendment.
We adopted it
You,
on August the 12th?
No, on May.
no, the budget amendment.
We had tabled,
Amendment number 4.
Yep.
thought we had tabled it or not.
I think you approved.
Yes, the board adopted the budget amendment.
On the last budget, there was a additional revenue of, I guess, 1 point something that wasn't appropriated yet. I forgot what function it was at.
That was not added to the budget, would be distributed later, decided by how you would put forth, where you would budget that.
That was a 1 million to,
The 1.2 million.
yeah.
That was not included in the.
Do you have a budgeted versus actual information? How much you've actually spent year to date?
We can provide that for you. Okay, moving on, Juan.
Yeah, page 7.
Hold on, let's just advance the slide. Okay, on page 7, Mirna is going to begin with now the budget updates along with budget assumptions for the 25-26 school year. So Mirna, go ahead and let's get going. while Juan figures out the technology. Yeah,
On page 7, under 2026 budget assumptions, we have the enrollment. This is ended as of 24-25. This is how we ended, effective 1,559. This is our enrollment, and this is gonna carry over for next year. Attendance rate ended up at 91%. The refined average daily attendance, which is calculated by the enrollment times the attendance rate, comes up to 1,409. And our current collection rate, we have it currently at 97%, up to 98% collection taxes rate. It's up to date. And
95%.
You have 95 there.
yeah, 95%, but we have collected 97, 98%.
So,
but for the purpose of the budget assumptions for the
Oh,
update,
we're on 95.
we're using 95%, yes, sir. We're being very conservative, yes, sir.
but this year was 97, but we're going on 95, just to be sure.
The next item is property value growth. You can see it's a negative, 0.06%. And this means that it has dropped. And from the 2025 taxable value, it was 1.5. And that's the current. For the 2024 is 1.66, so it has dropped the property value. And all of this data is based on CDA, and current law, and legislative updates. So all of this is actual data coming from the TA.
What about,
And legislative
have you
updates.
checked like on this one with the appraisal district here?
Yeah, we received,
Preliminaries.
These are all from preliminary values.
like May the 2nd, something like that. They came
On
in.
the appraisal?
Our witness, they walk in with a preliminary one. They'll submit in, I believe it's July the 25th,
The final.
certified.
You know, if these preliminary data, I saw that they had increased the homestead exemption to 140,000. Does this include that or no?
This is just their values. The ones you're referring to is where they'll determine which amount it is that they're gonna exempt, and then they'll apply that to us. That'll adjust probably in the certified value to show up.
Moving on to the next page, number 8. Continue with the projected tax rates for the 25-26. Our current, right now, for the maintenance and operations, we have 0.6669. That's for the M&O. For the INS, which is the debt service, it has 0.246045, which means that it has decreased, it has dropped 0.04 cents compared to prior year. Prior year was 0.286659.
Let me have a question for Robert. Robert, on the tax rate that we approve, how much can we increase without having to take up the waters?
You've actually increased your maximum compressed rate assigned. It's different than the last few years. TA now determines what tax rate the district uses. The maximum compressed tax rate, compressed literally means that they push the tax rate down, is 61.69 cents. The board approved an additional 5 cents locally, and that's a grace that the state lets the local boards do. Only 5 cents without having to go to an election. They've already
Increase,
You've already done that.
not decrease.
You can't go down because.
We're already at compressed rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. TA wants a share of money, and if you're making so much, you cannot, they're not allowing you to drop it any further, because if you do, then you are taxing below your level, which means TA.
So what we have right now is as we can go.
You're at the max.
Yeah, because I was thinking about the
Election, but-
homestead, I mean, if we're getting, I think you said,
It's,
140.
exemption is increasing to 140,000 from
I
100.
mean,
The state will make, with those exceptions, the state will allow the school districts, what's called a hold harmless. So if the district loses 150,000, they make some of
I
that.
know, but what I was saying, I mean, with that amount of money, I mean, last year, what was it, 100,000? I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
so, I mean, so now, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people that, I mean, can save in the school district, and I know they're gonna get it from the state, but I was saying, I mean, if the people that pay taxes for the school district are gonna get on the, an exemption, so maybe we could go up, but you said we're,
You kind of said it, Captain, got you.
I have a question. If I understand the process first, we have to do a budget first, and then based on the budget, we decide what the tax rate's gonna be. Am I correct?
Right, so these are based on, so the header is, these are budget
I
assumptions.
understand.
These are just assumptions.
So I'm assuming that our administration's already more or less put together an estimated budget for next year.
Yes, and we'll present it today.
Because of that, you guys are arriving at this tax rate,
Well, using the
projected tax rate.
maximum compressed rate. They determine the tax rate. We can't go any lower. The district can't.
I know that, I already heard you, but it's based on a potential estimated budget for next year.
Right.
Okay.
With the,
Well, and no, not exactly. The budget is the budget. This tax rate gives you an idea of how much money you will bring in, and then that tells TA how much they're gonna fund the district. This current year, the district is funding the allotment for all the functions of instruction in the school, instruction, at about 66%. The state is only contributing 33%. Next year, the value is dropping. The state is now teetering the other direction. They'll pay about 44% versus the 63 or so that the district. So the budget is the budget. And the services you have to provide based on the numbers that you have in ADA, full-time equivalents, special ed, primary technology, SE, all those numbers tell the district, this is the amount of money you need to have to function.
Yes.
Provide those services.
And our tax rate is only for the part that we have to pay, not the state portion. It's only this tax rate is gonna help us fund our share, our cost.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so.
Vince, you had a question?
yeah, with the debt service tax rate of the 0.24, is that enough to cover all of our debt services that we have?
Yes.
Payments?
Yes.
Does it exceed our payments, or is it right at the minimum?
Right now, it's right on the pen. You should not tax any higher than you are required to pay. That's not right.
We were looking at this package here, I think, I was going to mention it to Vince that the Senate is considering a bill about, dealing with districts that go beyond and taxing for INS. Yeah, it's like a penalty that they're considering a penalty, so we have to be careful on that one.
We'll show you in a minute I guess the next.
Sure.
Cruz. Page 9.
The total for this MNO and INS tax rate is 0.912945. You're gonna see it at the next page. Domingo provided for us. So you can see it under 2025 year. It's at 0.91, which is combined, 91 cents. Combine both the INS and the MNO. So this is tax history from the prior years. Moving on to the next slide, we have resort revenue sources. This is including the taxes. The first column, we have property taxes, which is for the 24-25 revenue. This is only current taxes, 10.9. This is current year, 24-25. Projected for next year is 9.7, which is the difference of 1.1. Other local revenue. This one includes the taxes, delinquent, and interest, donations, rent, royalties. We have it as the revenue 1.0. Projected, we're also estimating a projection of the same amount, 1.0, which is the difference of 91,791.50 cents. The next item is state aid, which is the foundations, or foundation FSPs. For the current year, we have 5.7. Projected for the next year, 7.7, with a difference of 1.9. We also included here for the revenue projected for the TRS on behalf, 1.0 for this year. For next year's, it's gonna be a little bit less, 188,217.79, with a difference of 102,661.38. We have 0 on the federal rate for current and next year.
Is that,
The total,
oh, I was gonna say, is that state aid based on the ADA, the current ADA? Has that anything?
That's gonna change as the staff is closing files from the different campuses, all their attendance and so forth. And they digest those numbers and since corrective, and then the district has an opportunity to do a second submission. And by then, TA has already more or less taken into account the legislative items that Ms. Vidornes mentioned earlier. And TA has to interpret those laws and put them into formulas as well, like what we call the summary of finance. The last one we worked with was dated May 1st, and they put up another one on June the 2nd. We check it every day. And in that one, they put a disclaimer that it's not final until the governor signs, and everything is digested and interpreted and applied.
So that's based off of the 1559 enrolled, not,
Robert, how much money was Charles bringing us when we charged for special ed, or, do you know?
I don't remember off the top, but it was money that went to, we allocated it to special ed.
Yeah, but how
It
much
was
was
about
that?
$50,000-$60,000, and please don't quote me, it's been a while since. But it was extra money for the program.
But right now, the last refund that we received, or the last reimbursable that we received, was about how much, ladies?
that's it.
So remember that TA and special ed and SHARS, they have been in litigation, and they've had to make a lot of changes to, and they've made a lot of changes to SHARS and how we bill, Medicaid. And so that, what Robert is, because I know that the last time that we had a good reimbursement from SHARS was, I believe, $79,000 that we used to repair the roofing at the life skills unit at Fly Junior High. That type of dollar amount is not coming in like that anymore. So now what we're seeing is the $1,000, the $1,400, and we haven't seen a reimbursable in quite a bit. So yeah, SHARS is a different. It's a different animal.
The total revenue current year, we have 18.8, projected 19.3, with a difference of 130,757. And this is only projections.
Ms. Jordan mentioned something earlier, all those allotments, we don't have those in that summary of finance. They're not in there. We don't know how they're gonna impact this yet.
Based on your predictions,
I mean, these numbers are
Positive or
going to
negative?
change. Positive, yes.
positive.
Yes.
And they will probably affect the final tax rate that we adopt, we're gonna have to adjust the budget. Hopefully by then we're gonna have all that information, right?
We'll have
We can adopt the proper budget.
And so ahorita, we're kind of just getting,
Right.
like, idea where we stand.
Yes.
Projected expenses. For the current year budget we have, these are actuals what we have in the budget here. 61's payroll, it's 15.3 projected, 14.6 with a difference of 657,148. 62's contracted services current year, 2.6, projected for next year, 1.9, with a difference of reductions of 619,083 and 43 cents. The 63 supplies and materials for the current year, we have 524,408.66 cents. Projected, $343,973.70, the difference of $180,434.96. The 64, which is other operating costs for the current year, $930,029.34. Projected, 2.0, the difference 1.1. For the debt service, we have 0. This is not, we're only doing the one general fund, so that's why it's not included here. The capital outlay, the 66, for the current year, 611,507.57 cents. Projected for the next year, we have a 200,000. And the difference for this current year, next year is 311,507.57 cents. Now we have the 89s, which is operations transfers out. For the current year, we have 462,348.94 cents. This is including both two transactions in this amount, which is the payments to the health insurance and time warrant. The health insurance is 380,279.44 cents, and the time warrant, it's 82,069.50 cents. And for the next year, for the projections, we have 110,036.75 cents, with a difference of $352.12.19. The total for the budget for the 24-25 currently in expenditures is 20.4. With the projected 25-26, we have 19.3 with a difference of 1.0.
I have a question, if I may. This is fine and dandy, but my concern always been, do we provide what our students need? And under supplies and materials, the question that I have, because it's an amount that dropped by $180,000, is that our cost from local, or this also include any monies that would come in from the state and federal?
This is only state and local. This is the Fund 199, as Estrada mentioned earlier.
So,
Federal funds are separate.
okay, so they could contribute to making this amount bigger.
Oh, yes.
Because that's my
There's a lot
concern,
of work.
that I don't want to hear a community aid, but, you guys get these programs, they require a lot of paper, and then the teachers don't have the paper.
That should not be an issue, but yes, in terms of federal revenues, yes, they will come and supplement.
Okay.
So on the 8900s, the transfers out for the 24-25, you mentioned there was a $380,000 payment to the health.
The health insurance.
Health insurance.
And assistance to that program.
And the other 86 to the time warrants. So are we not making that payment to the, how did it drop 352,000?
The 110 that you see there, that is two amounts in there. I was gonna save it as a surprise to y'all, in the other reports. That is the Time Warner. It's about $85,000 worth. The other $25,000 in that number is a payment that we'd like to schedule to transfer, and it's gonna be a transfer to the debt service fund. Remember, the school took some money from that program? We're gonna start paying it back.
So what about the workers' comp or the health service?
The health, well, at this time, at this current time, in this school year, the district has contributed because the rates were set at a point where they did not fund fully the health insurance. It had not been adjusted in several years, as normally we'd adjust. So you'll be seeing premium recommendations for next year on the plan that will fund it fully to its maximum capacity. So hopefully you won't have to subsidize it. The premium will adjust, it has to adjust in order to meet the claims requirement.
So it's probably gonna go up.
Yeah. They hadn't adjusted in several years.
I mean, you have a question?
That's fine.
As for the 25-26 projection, Mr. Velasquez is gonna provide the cash flow. So, more details.
We're doing fund balance.
On the fund balance, it is not good news. This is the beginning balance that transferred over. You saw in the audit, 1.3 million in the negative. Well, when you started this year, the food service program was coded under program fund number one, which has been coded that way for a number of years because it was the term that we used. Project, what do we call that program? Provision 2, because the district paid 100% of the kids that have to pay in full, and those that have to pay a portion of, the district matched that. That was from local side. Okay. So it wasn't entirely a federal program on its own, which pays only the portion for free and the portion for the reduced. District took over as provision 2, we paid for everybody. This year, the individual that you hired moved that fund over to a 200 fund. He said, no, we're not gonna book it that way, under 100 fund. When you closed the year last year, the auditor said it's a 100 fund, it has money, and adding the negative from the general fund, it was a balance of 1.3 million in the shortfall. When you took the fund, food service fund, it had money in it. It had $600,000, $640,000, I think. When you took it out and named it 240 and moved it out on its own, they took the money with it. It has to. So it leaves the debt here on the fund balance, an additional 600,000. So from 1.3, it went to $2 million in the red. That's what you got.
That's what we're starting out with.
Yes. And that's got to be another goal of the district. You've got to start replenishing that. The way you replenish that is by saving money in your next year's budgets.
Robert, like, for this next school year or by the end of the school year, I mean, we're gonna finish, paying for a football field, which is gonna be a big savings. I mean, how much do we pay?
For the football field, we still need to pay about an additional $200,000.
After we're done, right?
With the football field, yes.
I mean, that's money that we can start putting in the fund balance. I mean,
In the following years,
The
yes.
following year, for 26, 27.
That's true. As you eliminate some other
Of the
projects
debt.
that you started and close them out, those are funds that can stay in the budget, but save them for future, or designate them as a savings to eliminate or start reducing some of that red ink. On the following page, you've got debt service. page 16.
16.
For the current year, 24-25, what was in the system? In this system, this is that you started with, you allocated or booked $4,727,000. For 25-26, the bill for the bonds is really $3,605,000. So you can't charge taxes beyond that amount. Hence the reason for dropping the tax rate. Okay, you can't tax any further. That's the bill. So the intention is only charge taxes to collect enough money to pay the bill. You will probably have delinquencies. People will not pay, will be late. But you've also got some delinquencies coming in and maybe some penalty and interest. You can't count on them 100%, but you'll get some that'll make up the difference. Okay, so you'll probably meet that goal and maybe exceed it a little bit. And if you don't, the debt service fund has its cushion. It's got a fund balance of its own, which is great. And there are times that maybe the district needs to, well, it isn't now anymore because you're capped at the tax rate, but years back, we needed more money in the M&O and we were allowed to raise taxes. We'd drop it on the debt service fund. The bottom line would stay the same and even go down. But the cushion was made by that, by not charging more taxes on the debt service fund and yet meeting the obligation. So state revenues, the 148 is sort of the hold harmless for the debt service. That's what's projected this year and same as next year. Now it's gonna be updated because like you mentioned, it's gotta go up another $40,000 in exemptions. They'll probably try to make this hold harmless as well.
Mr. Manager, when it comes to the delinquent taxes and stuff, does the district place liens on any of the properties or for those that are delinquent?
Not the district. The appraisal district, yes.
The appraisal district will go after those delinquent and, based on what they collect, they divide it into all the entities, the school district, the city, the county, whichever earlier.
On page 17, you'll see the revenue side of this program, the debt service side. The revenue side, and it's combining your principal and interest for 24-25 was at $3,827,000. On the 25-26, it's the same number as you do in revenue, because that's the bill. Okay, that's the bill on all the bonds. There's a schedule that goes 20, 30 years worth. And we know exactly what it's going to be. So the difference is they're going to adjust expenses by about $222,000. The following page is the fund balance. The beginning fund balance, we ended up the school year on August 31st of 24. The fund balance was $3,684,000. The projected revenue was the $3,754,000. Expenses at 306. This is for the coming year. It's $3,605,000. So you're going to add a little bit more money into your fund balance. And this is a perfect example of what you want to do with your general fund as well. If you bring a little balance over, and then you've got revenue one year and expenses, maybe you don't budget all the expenses, all the revenue. You have a little bit left over, it adds to your fund balance. It doesn't necessarily sit there, but it gives you better credit ratings for something down the road, or you can project a project that's coming up. And don't necessarily have to impact your budget because you've got revenues on the side in your savings. You can designate that.
The time warrant, because it wasn't, we didn't guarantee it with taxes, we cannot use money from the debt service fund balance to pay it off. Okay.
On page 20, we have projected revenues. This is on the food service side, on child nutrition. We had a food service management company in place in the district. The expenses are annual, renewals are annual. They provided the district with an email yesterday that they don't want to renew for the next year. So the district has got a choice to go sub-operational or go out for bids, and I think it's too late to go out for bids for a food service management company. And now they've got to put together, an application and a budget for next year. And that's what they're working on. And currently for 24-25, these are the numbers that they've got. About $1,170,000 in revenue. For next year, we're projecting about $1,400,000. About $300,000 more in revenue projected. Okay. And if you turn the page, for the expenses are at 1.4 million of the current year. And then again, it's very preliminary because we gotta get the application in and the lady running the food service is putting numbers together as to how many meals and the rate that the state's gonna allow to charge and so forth, or reimburse. And so that number's a preliminary number. It's another 1.4 million for next year.
What was the reason they didn't want to renew the contract?
Primarily, well, we have some issues that we'll have to discuss in closed session on Monday. Primarily is the payment schedule, and we are not completely satisfied with service provided to the district. So we've been, it's been a contentious relationship pretty much all second semester.
On page 22, you'll see
Barbara,
Sorry, I have
Yeah, go ahead.
in reference to the current budget that we're at, possibility that we're gonna end up with a deficit for the nutrition program,
It might.
because I see revenues, 1,100,000.
Current revenues posted today.
Oh, okay,
Still waiting on some receipts.
alrighty.
We just closed a week ago. If you look at page 22, you'll see a number that's familiar that I mentioned earlier. It says beginning fund balance, 643,000. That's what this program finished with last year. It was in the general fund.
Oh, okay.
Original here moved it out and renamed it. That money went away and now it sits on its own. Those dollars are at. I don't have it. So, yes, your example, Ms. Bonilla, that if.
Page 22.
This is a place.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
This money comes to us from,
Texas Department of Agriculture. And some is from adult sales, a la carte.
So it's no longer gonna be 101, it's gonna be 240.
Dina, I don't have anything for child nutrition.
It is currently Fund 240 right now.
He's bringing in another presentation.
Is this being shared to the streamer? Yeah.
So I'm ready for the grand finale.
So now we're moving on to, this is a draft, very draft, 25-26 budget, including, again, another draft cash flow model for the 25-26 school year.
I've combined two reports in this one. And I'm showing you how you've got a budget over here on the right-hand side in columns A and B. You've got it broken down by taxes. And that number is the number that shows up in the report or the PowerPoint that Ms. Bruno provided you with. And on line 2, all the way to line 11 are the other sources. Still local, but delinquent, earnings from CPs, rent of property, and flooding gate receipts, and so forth. 5,700 are at about $10,780,000. Line 14 to 16 is the state side, what they contribute. That's about at $8,613,000. Federal, across the board, we have nothing right now. Total revenue is anticipated at $19,393,000. Below that, we've got expenditures. We've grouped them a little bit different. We've grouped them by payroll, by contracted services, supplies and materials, other operating costs, which is travel and facilities sometimes, 6,600, which is capital outlay, and then 8,900, which is a transfers out. The transfers out in this one, we referred to earlier, we discussed earlier, is a time warning. The reason is that as an 8,900 as a transfers out is because it's not paid from the general fund. But the funds are allocated in here and transferred out to the debt service fund. The debt service fund, which is Fund 598, is the one that actually pays the bill. 599? Okay. And pays that bill out. Okay. So you'll notice that line 23 says 19,933,000. The projected expense matches that. And that's what you should see, and that's what you should adopt, a balanced budget. The only way you don't adopt it is if you've got, or that it would be different, is if you've got more revenue. And then the difference in the revenue is what you'd say, I'm gonna add that to my savings, to my fund balance. If you notice line 29, it's highlighted. Look across to column F, G, and H. And that's $2 million compared to, I'm not sure what the number was earlier, but it was not $2 million in this current year. That's projected to make a payment on a possible loan to the district. We've allocated that payment in here as well. And that's an estimation, only a rough estimate of $1.5 million. The payments are in there. That doesn't total to the 1.5, it exceeds it because there's other items in there as well. If you look at line 31, September, we got $5,000 there. And the next highlight in January, column G, 20,000. That's $25,000 that we'd like to transfer over to the debt service fund. We're up front trying to set up money aside to meet some of our obligations. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's an attempt to start making payment on it. And in light of those numbers, you're balanced. Okay. Below at line 37 down to 42 is just a little more of a description. These numbers are based, or these revenues are based on an average daily attendance of 1,398, 1,398 kids. It's conservative versus what Ms. Briones and Dina may have mentioned earlier at 1,400 and some odd. If you fall higher than the 1,398, you gotta get more money. You got it, put it away, save it, or allocate it to a project that you've got. But if you fall short, then you gotta dig deep and cut somewhere else. Hence the assumption or the projection of only collecting 95% of your taxes, you're being
I'm good.
If you wanna
Time, sir.
the house, Texas is playing.
What's the time, sir?
Time?
And I'm for,
Sorry, I think the audio was.
I'm for UTSA.
For Cruz?